I'm here today in Ashton talking to the celebrated artist, author, actor, auteur, other words beginning with A, Brian Gorman.
Hello.
A lovely chap. And I just, first of all, before we start the conversation about it, I'd like to thank you from the bottom of my heart, and so would Mustard Tree. They sent their best wishes. Brian kindly donated a portrait of Edison Cavani, which we auctioned for the Emergency Food Bank, and it raised £100, which I thought was cheap, to be honest, but there we go. It raised £100, and everyone, thanks you, Brian. It was a wonderful gesture.
You're welcome.
But we're here to talk about your life and your work, but I think it's fair to say you're a bit of a legend on the Manchester arts and entertainment scene, aren't you, with all the stuff you've done, the output.
Well, basically, the last 5 years or so is like a culmination of what I've always wanted to do. Mm-hmm. You know, I started off as a poverty-stricken child on a council estate in Wigan. Mm-hmm. We had absolutely nothing. All my mates could go to the cinema, and sometimes they had fish fingers. You know, it was like, wow, we never had that. We had those horrible flat beef burgers that were just like a piece of carpet, you know. Yeah. And but I always loved drawing because that was cheap. You know, some scrap paper, pencil, whatever, and also going to the library was free and watching the telly. So to me, comic books and drawing, but I never thought of it as a living. I just thought it's one of those dream jobs that people like me don't get. And so for years I did just menial jobs. And then a girlfriend said, no, you've got to do an A-level degree in English. And I did that. And I'm not joking, I just found it really easy. I thought, what is this, what an A-level is? And I always remember the day I went down to see the results. And I was just expecting anything, you know. And it was like an A advance, and I thought, but that's ridiculous. And I always remember I stood there with my girlfriend, and she was like really kind of happy, and I was like, well, that was easy, that. It's not. And honestly, it's not being egotistical. It was just that I just found it really easy, reading and talking about stuff and all the art side. And then I did a degree in art, but I didn't really take much notice of what I was doing. And got a job in the Chester Gateway Theatre for 12 years, which built my confidence up. Met loads of actors, artists, started writing bits for the stage and that. And finally, at the age of about 48, I thought, right, I'm going to draw for a living. Left the Gateway 16 years ago, and I always thought that's the last time I'm going to have a regular job because it's just not me. You know, I'm going to go crazy if I can't try this. Yeah. So, came to Salford, 2006, immediately got stuck into what became New Dawn Phage graphic novel, became the stage show. Threw myself into a one-man show about Patrick McGowan, which is now a show, a graphic novel, and an audio CD with original music. And just not stopped because finally I've found this is what I love doing, and I don't care what the money is. If I've got a roof over my head, if I've got a bathroom and a toilet and bread and cheese, and coming to the Top End Bar in Ashton, where that's only £1.70.
What pub is it in again, Brian?
It's called the Top End Bar.
Top End Bar?
The Top End Bar.
Ashton?
Ashton, underline.
Yeah, underline.
The best pub in Ashton. I'm not just honestly, I'm not just saying that because
I would be.
Sanjay and Anita, who run the place, I don't know if the term is landlord, it's different these days, isn't it?
Person.
They run it.
Managed, is it?
Do you know what, I'm going to have to be careful not to run down other pubs out. But it's brilliant. The atmosphere, the attitude.
You'd highly recommend it.
I highly recommend it, yeah.
While we're talking, Brian, I was enthralled, if not perplexed, to see your one-man Bond play. How on earth did you manage to fit all the 12? Is it 12 Bonds? Correct me if I'm wrong.
25.
25?
25 plus two unofficials.
I've only seen a few films then.
Tell
us the premise of that.
Right. Well, what it is that when I first came back to Manchester, Salford, I got stuck into the drawing and stuff, and I thought, right, let's get back into doing some acting, because I always fancied being an actor. So I got into the Fringe Theatre, and then I got an agent, and then I found out that, you know, unless you've got lots of money and connections, you're going down to London for jobs in an advert, and you're being seen for 2 minutes, and I just thought, sod it, cut out the middleman, write your own stuff, perform your own stuff, produce your own stuff. So I thought, right, I'll do a one-man show. That's cheap. Who do I know the most about? McGowan, the prisoner. So I did a one-man show about McGowan, and then I went to see a guy at Salford, at the Lowry in Salford, called Charlie Ross, Australian, I think, and it was called One Man Star Wars. And he did the first three, the original from the 70s, Star Wars films on stage with no props, just in a black boiler suit. He did all the music and sound effects, and it was great, you know. And I thought, right, big Bond fan, let's do Bond. And I had to root through all the Bond films again, try and pick out all the best stuff. And basically, it's all the best one-liners.
Yeah.
Now, everybody can do Connery, but it's not the old Connery. It's not the one from Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. It's the younger Connery, where it's all sharper and deeper. And he's more, I'll cut your head off. And everybody can do Roger Moore. My name is Bond. James Bond. But I thought Timothy Dalton was difficult, so I kept watching him. I thought, oh yeah, Timothy Dalton is so repressed. Timothy Dalton, Bond, James Bond. Yes, I'm a serious actor. Scared the living daylights out of her. Ooh. And then Brosnan. I couldn't do Brosnan, but then I saw, what's it, John Culshaw. I nearly said Killshaw. I'll tell you about the Killshaws, the internet baby couple at some point as well. Right, John Culshaw doing Pierce Brosnan, and all of a sudden, when you see an impressionist doing it, you see the bits they've picked up on, and all of a sudden it was like, name's Bond, James Bond, Pierce Brosnan, loves himself, always pursing his lips. So, but Craig is almost impossible because nobody does Craig.
I was going to ask you about
but
that, yeah.
Watching his scenes, what he does that very cold, in your face, and the bottom lips there. So when he's, basically, you just look at how each actor says, my name is Bond, and you get the whole character. So Connery is Bond, James Bond. You know, basically, I'm the coolest guy on earth, and I'll kill you in a second. Whereas Roger Moore is, my name is Bond, James Bond. Yes, ridiculous, isn't it? But I'm playing it, you know. So you get the character. And Craig is so intense. He's just like, Bond, James Bond, just right in your face. And also, he's the most violent, so when I do that on stage, I've got to do all the fighting. But basically, I do every film cut down to about 2 minutes. And what I used to do, the first time I did it, walked on stage and just ran through all of it in 1 hour non-stop. Nearly had a heart attack. I'm not joking. I was out of breath by the time I got to Goldfinger, and I was like sweating, and I thought, I can't do this. So now I do it like an orchestral thing where you have a little break to give the audience time to breathe, and myself. So once I've done the end of Dr. No, end with an explosion, I just go, thank you. You know, kind of little tongue-in-cheek to the audience. And then I walk off, and I come back on for From Russia With Love.
Right.
And then in between other films, when there's a change of actor, I'll improvise a bit, and I'll pretend I'm on a phone going, yep, Cubby, Roger, he's too old. Listen, I've got a guy, he's as funny as Roger, right, Timothy Dalton, and then I do it like that, you see. And all the snogging scenes always go down very well.
I should imagine.
You know, and when I get to Roger Moore, I start creaking and going, you know, with the old back.
Like a Tommy Cooper.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah, more than answered it.
Oh, right.
And the sad thing is, I never saw it. And any
Well,
plans to? Any plans? Revive it?
Well, here's another thing. I've just started doing it. I did it at Gulliver's in the Northern Quarter first, and that went down really well. And then I went around and did it, and all of a sudden I thought, this is great. New Dawn Fades has 10 in the cast, 5 technical crew. It's big, you know, profit share. You've got to share it out between 20 people. If you do one show with no props and no music and no tech apart from switch the lights on and off, it's a lot more viable. And so it kind of built and kind of culminated in, I've got a friend at Pinewood Studios, and he was doing a James Bond day with a lot of the actors and the technical people and directors. He said, come down and do One Man Bond. I said, right. And he paid me, got me a hotel for a couple of nights. Thought, right. And I ended up doing it in the Pinewood Studios ballroom, the actual room where they filmed most of Who Dares Wins, you know, with the SAS coming to the embassy. So I was on a stage.
Film.
It's a guilty pleasure. The music by Roy Budd is great.
I like Roy Budd.
And I ended up doing it on stage in Pinewood with a packed hall And right at the front, there's Eunice Gayson, who was the first Bond lady in Doctor No, and she was about 85 then.
Yeah.
She's since died, unfortunately. But when I came to her line, you know, she looked a bit kind of like half asleep, and when I came to her line, you know, all of a sudden she perked up, and it was like just amazing, thinking, oh my God,
There's
is the
the woman who
lady
said it, yeah.
who was sat opposite Connery in 1962, here on this lot somewhere. Now I'm playing Bond at Pinewood. I mean, I had Shane Rimmer, the voice of the voice of Scott Tracy in Thunderbirds. He's been in 3 Bond films. He was sat there. Monty Norman, who wrote the James Bond theme, well, he's credited as, I say it's half John Barry, half Monty Norman. Don't get me into that. No. So no, to cut to the answer. So it was going really well, and then a guy who shall remain nameless said, oh, I can get you loads of dates in London, I can get you 70 dates in London, I can redesign the poster, get you all around. I said, great, sort it. The months went by, didn't hear from him, finally heard from him, and he said, oh, I've been really busy, I've not sorted it. And in that time, I'd lost all the
goodwill,
ability to book for Christmas and that, and then COVID came along.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd love to do it again as a kind of final performance to fit in the last film, because I don't want to spoil the ending of No Time to Die, but it's a very final ending. I'd love to do it again. I just haven't got the physical energy, because there's a lot of
I can imagine so, yeah,
and jumping.
stage,
So
yeah.
I'm looking for a younger person to take it on, but I may do a kind of Frank Sinatra farewell.
Come back, the final farewell.
Couple of shows.
Patrick McGowan is another one of your idols, isn't he?
I absolutely love Patrick McGowan because he's so weird. And with The Prisoner, he'd been the highest paid actor on British television in Danger Man. And he played it unlike any other TV action hero. If you look at the same time, you have The Saint, and Roger Moore's, you know, very charming, and it's all very light, you know, and he kills people, shoots people, and doesn't think about it, and there's like women in every episode. When McGowan was offered Danger Man, he said, I'll do it, but if women are in it, I'm not kissing them, I'm not messing about with them, they better be in it as a character, I'm not using a gun, I'm not using any violence, I'm going to use me wits. And amazingly, Lou Grade agreed. And so he did it, big success. And then Lou Grade said, look, please do more. And he said, no, not doing any more. He said, please do more. And McGowan said, well, I've got an idea for The Prisoner. And Lou Grade said, well, what is it? Are you the lead? Yeah. Are you a kind of secret agent? Yeah. Are there fights in it? Yeah. Lots of action? Yeah. Here, have the money, do whatever you want. And I think McGowan just went, this is my chance. I'm at my peak fame, peak fitness, I can do whatever I want. And he went literally crazy. He wrote this amazing surreal drama that on the surface is a spy drama, but underneath it's about the world and who we are and are we all prisoners.
Psychological thing, isn't it?
It's incredible. It hasn't dated. And also the fact that they spent a lot of money on it and filmed it on 35mm. If you get it on like Blu-ray or something now, it looks like it was made yesterday. And McGowan at the centre of it, you can just see this is a guy who's just totally centred on playing the part. And I thought, well, I can do a I'm trying to see, under pressure, I can't do the voice now, but you know, I'm not a number, I'm a free man, Patrick McGowan, and he speaks in this staccato way. And if you do that for an hour on stage, you've got no breath in your lungs. So I had to take a lot of pauses.
You did it at Port Marion, didn't you, as well?
Yeah, it was my way, truth time, it was my way of blagging a free weekend. Because the Prisoner Appreciation Society have a weekend at Port Marion every year where they do all kinds of things. So I contacted them and said, oh, I've got this one-man show about McGowan. If you'd like me to come and do it, you know, just buy me a few beers or something. And they said, yes, here's some money, here's a hotel for 3 nights, and a lot of beer. So I did it, and that was fascinating. In Port Marion, where they filmed a lot of it, to an audience of absolute 100% McGowan Prisoner fans from all over the world.
Captive audience.
I'm not joking, I was treated like the biggest star. I'd just come off the stage, I was in the dressing room, just taking my shirt off, and there was about 5 people rushed in. There was like one American lady going, oh my God, you got him, Brian, how do you do that? And I'm like, well, can I just get me pants on, missus? You know. And then all night long I was in the bar, and people kept coming up, going on about the show. And like, honestly, I was stuck in a corner, and endless beers. Okay, oh yeah, cheers, I'll put that there. There's about 10 beers piling up, and then I had a twinkling what it must be like to be even slightly famous, because I was bored answering the same bloody question. And I thought, will you just go away? I want to sit down and have a drink. Shit, this sounds so egotistical.
No,
it's not, I'm just telling you how it is, but...
As they say, moving swiftly on, we have a shared interest with Cliff Twemlow.
Yeah?
Tuxedo Warrior Man from Eccles. What was it? The Orson Welles of Patricroft, I think he was described as, wasn't it? C.P. Lee's book. Yeah.
I'd call him the Ed Wood,
Ed Wood, yeah.
of Salford, because, right, well, basically, I'd never heard of Cliff Twemlow, but in the 90s I had a crack at writing, producing, directing short films, and they were all psychological dramas. Like Cliff, we just didn't care that we had no budget. So we'd get like one of those string bags that you buy oranges in, and put the video camera in and use a Steadicam, you know. And we got away with it. We get an old wheelchair, have the cameraman in it with a camera, and somebody else pushing him. So we had tracks, and we did car stunts. I remember jumping on top of a car and going 30 miles an hour through a graveyard at 7 o'clock one morning because it's quiet. And then the police asking us, what are you doing? And so when I heard of Cliff Twemlow, I thought, this is a man after my own heart. You know, he thought, I don't care what anybody thinks. I'm going to make an action adventure with fights and stunts and special
explosions,
effects on no budget. And so I saw C.P. Lee's book. I read that. Then I thought, this will make a good one-man show. Not for me, because Cliff Twemlow's the Stallone-like guy. But I've got a couple of people in mind, and the script was done a few years ago. Right. But then New Dawn Fades got bigger and bigger and bigger. So it's there, ready to go. And I've got a guy who's very well known. He's done a lot in Coronation Street, and he's got the physique. He's a really nice guy. It's not fair to mention him in case nothing happens. But really nice guy.
Not Brian Tilsley.
No. Chris Quinton. No. He popped up in a Quatermass, didn't he?
I'm not sure. You've got this love, haven't you, in the 60s, 70s, don't say, the culture of, you know, McGill, Man in a Suitcase, The Prisoner, all these things. I love all that, mate. I've got the annuals, I collect them.
Well, when you're 10 years old, I was 10 years old in 1974, so, you know, when you're 8 or 10 years old and you've got absolutely no money, your family's got no money, you don't have a car, you don't have holidays, you don't have fish fingers, that's a thing with me.
I'll buy you some later.
I remember going to my auntie's house and she had fish fingers.
Posh.
And a colour television. So having nothing, you can only focus on what you have got, which is television, library. And I just loved the ITC, Man in a Suitcase, Department S, because they all had amazing theme music. And
escapism,
it was escapism, but with The Prisoner, you not only got the escapism, you got the really deep. And when people say, "Oh, what was that about?" It's like, well, watch it properly.
Think about it.
Just think about it. You know,
it's trippy to say that.
We're still prisoners because there's things that entrap us, and the ending of it. I don't want to spoil it for anybody who's not seen it, but it's very, very up here, psychological, and I just loved it. I loved the theme tune. And you mentioned McGill. That's another project I've got on at the moment. I'm doing a graphic novel. A brand new story, Man in a Suitcase, and it's based on an original unfilmed TV film script for something else by Roger Marshall, who is a kind of the really well-known TV script writer. He's died now, but he's done The Sweeney, The Professionals, The Avengers, Department S, I think. He created Public Eye with Alfred Burke.
Oh, brilliant, that.
Which I've only just seen. Just a year ago.
Talking Pictures.
Brilliant. Talking Pictures TV.
Thursday night, 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
Brilliant programme, that. We've got to move swiftly on, Brian.
I've got my impression of Frank Marker.
There we go. Go on.
All it is one word. Marker. That's how he pronounces his name. He goes, marker, telegraphs it,
He was very apologetic, wasn't he?
Oh, yeah.
He had morals, didn't he, and standards
Yeah, he could never light
in a
his gas
seedy
stove.
world.
Yeah, he did. He just.
I loved
brilliant.
him, Marco. You don't phase, Brian.
You don't face.
I've got to ask, what come first? The film, the book? Well, not the film. The film will come.
Film next.
The book, the stage play.
I know we're going at length, so I'll try and keep it very, very short.
Okay.
2012, went back to Chester briefly. 2012, I come back to Manchester. I get this kind of deal with Simon & Schuster for 3 books on Manchester bands. First one I suggested, Joy Division, and then we were going to do the Stone Roses and Happy Mondays. I do the graphic novel. I had to do a lot of research, took me about a year to do it. Then I was told, could I do the artwork really quickly? So I ended up doing, there was one time, I'm not joking, I stayed up for 2 days and 2 full nights in a row in an attic room in roasting hot summer weather, finishing it, and it nearly killed me. And then I was told, oh yeah, there's no rush, it'll take some time. So basically the deal fell through.
Right.
It wasn't my fault. And so I thought, well, let's turn it into a play, which resulted in
Let's have a look.
New Dawn Fades, the stage play. And basically, rather than just tell the traditional love story of Ian Curtis and his tragic downfall, I thought, let's encompass 2,000 years of Manchester history.
Yeah.
And what I like to do is find out everything that informed and finally created Joy Division. So I realised that at certain points in history, there are great moments of violence and tension that has to erupt. So Joy Division came out of the punk 70s. Mm-hmm. We had the Industrial Revolution when people were just getting so downtrodden, they'd had enough. And so I went through all of history, and we have Tony Wilson, somebody playing Tony Wilson, starting the show with, "Hi, I'm Tony Wilson, welcome to Manchester. It's the year 400 AD, and I'm here with General Julius Agricola of the Roman army. General Agricola, Tony Wilson Granada reports." And then that's how we started. And the audience are thinking, What? I've come to see Joy Division. And so we intertwine the history. John Dee, who was Elizabeth I,
the
necromancer, astrologer.
Yeah.
I discovered that he'd been at what is now the cathedral that was the Church of St Mary's, in that little alleyway hanging bridge where there's the famous Kevin Cummins photo of the four of them walking down.
That's right.
I discovered that it's actually a medieval bridge. And if you go in the Tourist Information Centre next door and go downstairs, you can see the remains of the medieval bridge. So I deduced, Columbo-wise, that at some point in time, John Dee would have been coming into the town of Manchester.
By osmosis.
And back. Yeah, and Curtis and Hook and everybody would have been travelling the same narrow bridge, but at different times. So in the play and in the book,
woven it in.
You get Dr. John Dee meeting Ian Curtis briefly. It'll probably take me forever to find it in this book, so I won't even bother to try and find it right now. But you can probably edit that in.
You told me that there's only one live song in the production of this.
No.
Good.
Originally there was. Originally we did it upstairs at the Lasso Gallery, played to 30 people in a tiny little room. And I thought, this is not a tribute band, it's 4 actors playing the band, and if they can maybe do a bit of the music, great. So we weren't going to do anything. And then director Neil Bell, wonderful Neil Bell, of Peterloo fame and
Dead Man's Shoes.
He did a great job of directing it, and so he persuaded me to have one song in it, which was Shadow Play, I think. So we reproduced the famous Granada reports, Tony Wilson introducing the band, and he did it on bongos. And when he first told me, and he said, "Come down to rehearsal, I know it works, Brian, it works, trust me." I said, "All right." And I went down and I thought, it works. And when we did it live in that tiny room, it really worked, you know. Instead of the guitar, just... And Michael Whittaker, who played Ian Curtis, was absolutely superb and went into the trance. And you know, we said, don't try and do an impersonation, don't try and copy the dance, just feel it. And he just went with it. And on the first night, John Robb was there, gave us a glowing review. Rowetta from the Happy Mondays was there, and she was in tears. She's been to see it again.
Did you have to pay to get in?
Do you know what? I don't know. Do you know,
That's
to be
actually being
honest,
tears.
I don't know.
I'm only
I don't think
joking.
we gave any guest passes for that night because we had 10 people in the cast and 30
Yeah,
seats.
yeah.
So, what was the question? Oh, songs, yeah. So, and then when we did it on a bigger stage, we thought, okay, we're going to have to play a song. And so, up to now, the latest tour back in 2019, we had them doing 4 songs. I won't say if all the instruments are live, but half of them are, and the singing is always live. And one of the best reviews we had was, oh, this is great, great, great. When they do the music, oh, that's fantastic. The way they mime to it is great. I mean, they can't possibly recreate Joy Division, but it was great how they did it and the magic. And I had to contact the reviewer and say, no, they did it live. You know. And when you hear that in an auditorium, and it's full of everybody our age and older who were there at the time, and they're kind of in tears and giving us a standing ovation. I'm always sat at the back as the writer. I don't have to do anything on the night.
Just observe.
And it's just like, wow. I just look at people and people are just like in shock. Like, and it's kind of like we're recreating that atmosphere. So we're doing it again this September.
That's what I say. When can we see it? When can these people watching see it?
Well, we've just confirmed the first 4 dates. It opens at Sheffield Leadmill on the 1st of September. Tickets are on sale now. We've done it there before and it sold out for 2 nights and that was a fantastic atmosphere. We've got the Met in Bury later in the month. We've done it there before. That was actually the Derby Hall where the famous 1980 Joy Division riot was when Curtis collapsed and all that. And seeing that on stage there in the very same room on the same spot where it happened is spooky,
isn't it? Yeah.
And then we've got, I think we may be doing the Epstein in Liverpool. We're thinking about that. We've definitely got our most prestigious venue yet, the Royal Northern College of Music.
Right.
That's 2 nights towards the end of September.
It's fabulous. I am going to come down to it.
Ever bored.
You're not. Again, moving swiftly on. Your artwork, Brian. I looked at your give your page a plug. Brian Gorman Art.
Yeah, if you go on Facebook and you look for 3 words, Brian Gorman Artwork, you can contact me there. Telephone number's on there. I never answer the phone, by the way, so email me or message me. And so I tend to put everything up on there. That's the most recent one. That's David Bowie.
That is stunning, isn't it?
Well, I was lucky because somebody allowed me to go a bit crazy and a bit more abstract with that. Normally, I would do stuff more like that, which is more straightforward.
Yeah.
Jump out of the cellophane to avoid the light. Yeah, that's more straightforward illustration. Because when people ask me to draw a picture of the mum or the dad, you've got to make it look how they want it.
So you do commissions for people saying to you?
Yes, and thanks to you, Mr. Tony Flynn. Again, things happen in weird ways. I'd forgotten it was the anniversary of the Munich disaster last week, and then somebody mentioned it, and I thought, oh yeah. So I put up a little abstract kind of picture I'd done of the lineup. You saw it, then you promoted it, and I'm not joking.
I bought it.
Yeah, and you bought it, yeah. Bought it as the best way to promote it. And
it was one of those images, Brian, that it caught my eye straight away. I thought, Christ, look at that. That is powerful.
Well, it's the kind of stuff I've always wanted to do. Not completely abstract, but something that's got a bit of punch to it. You know, a bit like not as crazy as Francis Bacon, but something that kind of you look at it and you go, oh, there's something about that. You can feel the energy in it. Yeah. But on a day-to-day living, you get more commissions for the straightforward stuff. Yeah. This one here, this is a friend of ours. She's known as Vice Vera now. This is Tamsin Middleton, a great singer-songwriter, guitarist. Yeah. I wanted to do a series of Manchester musicians, and I asked her, oh, can I do one of you? And I took this and I thought, right, I don't want to use a photo that already exists. So what I did was I looked at a video of her playing live and just froze it on YouTube for a moment with her hairs going across the face. And I thought, I can do a more abstract picture. Because at first when you look at it, you might not know it's a face. You know, you can just about see the mouth and all that.
Yeah,
And I really like the way
yeah,
it's come out. And that's on canvas with paint. But I find paint too messy. Pen and ink, dead easy.
Yeah.
Paint is messy. That's what I've decided on now.
I saw some-
Polychromos, coloured pencils. I'm not advertising
Yeah.
Faber-Castell, but I experimented with coloured pencils, and then I read up that the best sort were these Polychromos pencils, and basically they cost about £3 or £4 a pencil, and I get through black a lot, but they hardly ever break, and you get like this deep kind of richness to it where you can blend them like paint. So for me, who lives in a very tiny flat, not much space, I tend to do stuff that's about that big on my lap.
Yeah, A4.
Now I've been commissioned to do some A3 size, so I'm going to move to a table now.
I'm just glad, in a small way, Brian, that we've been able to help you by accident. Not by accident. I saw it and I thought, well, that needs to be seen. And if anyone's took a commission, no, thank you for all your work.
Well, it's exploded. Like I said, since you promoted the United picture, I've had a guy in Canada commission a big A3 one. Another guy, can't remember his name. Well,
Steve
I can't.
Rounds?
Yeah, but I'm not going to.
No, I don't.
See,
I
I'm
don't
being
mention his
discreet.
name.
I'm being discreet.
Yeah,
And there was a guy in London contacted me because he'd seen it and asked me to do
A
a
friend
big
of mine's
picture.
picked one up today, hasn't he? Well, I'm taking it for him.
All right.
You've just given it me to him.
I'm just giving you the
John Brown,
the
was it?
Ronaldo
one.
Yes. Again, hang on.
I would urge anyone to look at Brian's artwork site. There's pictures of Ian Curtis. It's just not pop stars, but there we go.
Ronaldo. Yeah,
Viva
again,
Ronaldo.
you get a really nice deep red with those pencils, and it can look like paint, but with none of the mess.
Yeah.
So that's Ronaldo. That's an Ian Curtis. That is coloured
That
pencils.
one, now that to me, that just leapt out at me. See that?
Again, what I tried to do
My
is
God.
do it like an illustration, but try and add a bit of art to it, you know.
That is stunning, that, Brian. It
That's,
really is.
Yeah, somebody bought that. I had it on display here, I think. in the top
Morrissey,
end.
our friend Morrissey.
Yeah, Morris is popular. I've sold a few
I
Morrises.
should imagine Morrissey's, Wilson, Curtis. Honestly, it's excellent, Brian. Really
Well,
are.
do you know what? It's stuff I love doing it.
Yeah.
And if I can eke a living out of it,
Bonus, isn't it? Win a winner.
That's all I want to do.
Finally, before we parking meter runs out and we're towed away, I'm in talks with, and it's not a big shake, but it helps, Eccles Art Gallery. Elaine, I spoke to before, I sent her some of your artwork up, well, a link to the Brian Gorman artwork site, and she's delighted with it. I'm having a meeting with her tomorrow, and it's looking like March, possibly. Could you just say like 10 or 12 pieces in the art
This is
gallery?
the first I've heard of this. He said he was going to look into it, so he's actually...
Well, I got the ball rolling before I came here. I messaged her. I like to keep busy, Brian. I'm like that.
Well, it keeps you young, doesn't it? You wouldn't believe he was 84, would you?
I know, it's 1984, yeah. So I messaged her. I'm speaking to her tomorrow, and it's all going to be good news.
Fantastic.
And it's a nice little gallery, isn't it? And you get plenty of footfall. And don't forget, we'll promote it shamelessly.
It's great that kind of you've come to me on that, because the idea I had about a year ago was to try and get stuff into galleries.
Yeah.
But when I made some inquiries, it was always like, oh, there's a massive waiting list.
Yeah.
Oh, it's got to be landscapes of the area and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So then I had this idea, a bit like Van Gogh used to do, whereas find your local pub and get stuff on the walls. So here in the top end, I had an idea that I was going to do portraits of local people. People that I know by sight in the evenings if I come out and have a drink. Yeah. Never meet them during the day, not in contact, but I just say, oh, there's Jim, all right, Jim. So I'd ask people, could I take a couple of nice pictures on the phone, do a colour portrait? And I asked the top end, and they very kindly put them all up on the wall here.
Yeah, we saw it before. It was, once again, they're brilliant. It's art for everyone.
Well, it's stuff that, like, a lot of people who come in here will recognise that, oh yeah, that's Tracy, she's the barmaid from the Queen's down the road, and oh, that's Wendy, oh, I see her around every night, So, and these faces have got a lot of character in them
very
as well.
much so.
So.
The chap with the teeth, at first I thought it was Formby. He's by the dartboard in the other room.
The teeth?
He's got big teeth. We'll have a look later. We'll show it out. Yeah.
I
Brian?
don't know which one you're talking about.
Well, on that happy note, Brian, seriously, we've got to get back to Salford because we've only got an hour's parking.
Can I just mention
course,
one,
yeah,
one
plug
last
away,
thing? One
plug
last
away.
thing. I've got to do this.
Plug.
This is the latest graphic novel that's out. This is unusual because I've just done the artwork on this. It's written by a friend of mine, Ronnie Worsey. She had a little indie publishing place and she got all my stuff first published and noticed.
Ah, good.
And she's a very big animal kind of rights person, vegan, and she'd written a story that basically is the Expendables crossed with Watership Down. And it's the first time I've had to draw just mainly animals.
Yeah.
And so I had to learn a lot. So you've got like badgers and hares and a fox, and they all join forces, and you hear what they're saying.
Yeah.
But they say it in their own way. And so it was interesting working with another writer, because I normally write and do my own stuff, and interpreting their stuff. So that is the latest one.
Where is your books available from, Brian, etc.?
Well, again, this is another thing. It's a very kind of punk DIY ethos, because I found that if you go to certain bookshops and this and that, you go in through and say, oh, well, it'd be 50% to us, and it's
markup,
like, and sometimes you go in a shop and it's just been stuck on a top shelf, and so it's like you just get them straight from the source.
Yes.
Contact me. Yeah, Ronnie's got stacks of these in boxes.
Don't say stacks, they're selling quick.
Well, small stacks, yeah. Well, we have to keep reprinting. New Dawn Feds has been reprinted 3 times, and we've sold out. In fact, that's not New Dawn Feds, wherever it is. I just found a couple of copies that I had today, but every time we do the show, we sell the graphic novel, you see.
You thought we'd slotted it then, didn't you? They're excellent. Absolutely.
Forward by the lovely Mick Middles.
Yeah. United fan as well.
Oh, and designed by Giles Bastow.
Oh yeah, who is
my mate. Giles co-directs and produces New Dawn Fades, and I've got to say, I'm so glad he's producing it, because when I produced the smaller versions at the Lasso Garrett, that's painful enough, because you're starting 6 months in advance, venues, costumes, you have to find everything now. I can sit back as writer, exec producer, help with PR.
I've done my bit.
Giles does all the work of finding the venues, and he's tearing his hair out. He also plays Rob Gretton in the show.
God.
And believe me, he never believes in me when I say this, but I'm not joking. I say that Giles reminds me of Marlon Brando. I wouldn't say he goes from the gamut of A to Z, it's more like A to B, and I'm not sure he'll ever play any other role apart from Rob Gretton. But when you see him on stage, you just think this guy's wandered on stage, and he is actually the manager of Joy Division. There's like no artifice, there's no stage business. Granted, he probably doesn't know what he's doing, but you watch him in it, and it's just like, this guy doesn't look like he's acting, you know. So, plug for Giles there.
Plug for Giles, plug for everyone. Brian, can we come and see you again?
Yes.
Can we see you, hopefully, at the Eccles
I'm
Art
not
Gallery?
seeing it all the time. Can I just say one last thing, right?
One more last thing.
One last thing.
Yeah.
It's brilliant that I finally met you properly. I think we said hello at a book launch.
Book launch we met,
I couldn't remember you. Face in the crowd.
Tony Davidson.
Tony Davidson's book launch. Yeah. And just in the last week, I've had all these commissions coming in for not just Man United, but David Bowie and other stuff, and it's like, oh my God, I've actually got regular work thanks to this man. But one thing that really kind of hit me, I don't do emotion, so I'm going to be very careful not to do emotion here. It sometimes gets me by accident. But when I delivered your picture to you, the Man United one the other week, I thought, wow, he's really helping me. So I thought, I've got an Edison Cavani picture here, so I thought, I'll take it along. And I think I said to you, look, take that. I said, keep it for yourself if you like, or if you've got some charity or you want to raffle it, please do that. And you said, oh, great. And then just yesterday, I was on the train coming back from Glossop and got a message from you, and you were handing over the 100 quid to the mustard food bank. I'm not joking. I sat there and I was like, and I don't get more, sat there and I was like, like the breath was like, and I'm thinking, oh my God. Half my brain is thinking, I didn't really do anything. I just kind of donated a picture. But by doing something tiny that I did, you've done the work of organising the raffle and literally going to the place.
Yeah,
That's helped somebody, and somebody's probably eating for like a month or.
Well, that's it.
And,
That's
and
what
I'm sat on a train thinking, wow, it's that easy to help somebody.
It is very
so this
easy.
is what I'm saying to you now. I'm putting it on camera so that I can't get out of it. I'll donate an A4 colour, specially for the charity
Mustard Tree
once
Food
a
Bank,
month.
yeah.
Once a month.
Wow.
So if you've got any ideas, if you want a United player or a City player,
No.
or or anything,
Right.
just give me a week's notice. I'll do it. Pass it on, and
You heard it first. Brian's going to donate one a month.
if me, the poorest artist walking God's earth, can do a tiny bit like that, that has a knock-on effect that means a massive amount to somebody else.
Hopefully other people will see
Do
this
it.
and they'll join in, yeah. So just be nice, help people, that's all I can say. Brian, pleasure, honestly, mate, it always is. Even though
Thank
we've only
you.
met 3 times. But there you go. Cheers, Carl.